Hey guys, can you all hear me?
Yes, Bhargav. Sorry.
A very good morning and good evening, guys. I see a very less strength. Any reason for the same?
Today is a July 4th. It's a holiday and it's a long weekend here.
It's a long
Fri
weekend here. It's
okay,
Independence Day of United States. Yeah.
okay. Friday is also a holiday?
No,
Many of them
Friday. Yeah,
PTO.
like
Okay,
So usually folks would go and see fireworks at this time. So
got
that
it.
could be the reason.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll continue, guys. I mean, we don't have luxury of canceling the session, unfortunately. Okay. So, any questions from whatever we have discussed so far yesterday?
Uh, can you just can you just explain one more time about append and extend? Just a bit overview.
Okay. No worries, Varga. I'll talk about that. But did you get a chance to go through the yesterday's recording?
Yesterday's recording was not uploaded yet. I checked today, but it didn't upload. I think in the group it said that they will upload today.
Okay. So here I'm creating a list. L is equals to some values. Okay. Now I want to add element 5 to this list. What I should be using, Bhargav?
Append.
Append. Okay. L dot append of maybe 5 I'll do. Okay. Now if I print L, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay. Now if I want to add 6 and 7 to the existing list, what I should be doing?
Append.
No, you can't. I want to add 2 elements in one go.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use extend, and you see this is a list.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now when I run, if I print L, you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the same list.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now I want to add 8, 9. I'll show you what happens if I do append.
Okay.
8, 9. It will not be merged into the list. It will be added as another element.
Okay.
See,
Okay. It's adding as a list. Okay. Okay. Got
this
it.
is a
Okay.
single element and it was added as a list.
Okay. Okay. We got it.
Okay. So that's
Okay.
the difference.
Okay. Thank you, Suresh.
No worries. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions?
When do we need all this append and extend? Typically, when we define the list itself, like, the values exist, right? Uh, will there be a need
There will
programmatically,
be.
like,
There will be.
okay.
Okay. So it's not every time you create a list and then initialize all your values. Sometimes you define an empty value and then you keep adding your list. Okay. I'll give you an example, right? So for example, maybe you want to get metadata of a file, okay, which are stored in a directory, right? So you don't know if all the files, file names. Okay, again, you don't want to hard code it because you should only be mentioning the directory name or the folder name for the files where you want to get the metadata, right? To get the metadata, you'll have a lot of functions, be it a normal file or be it an ADLS file, whatever it is, right? So in those scenarios, what we do is we create an empty list, iterate through the directory. add all the file names to the list, and then we call a function to get the metadata for all these files.
Mm.
Okay, this is one such example. So you have lot of examples. I mean, in our upcoming sessions itself, when we are doing examples, we will do that.
Sure.
Okay, so this is one such example, but you see that's the basic need of a collection, right? When you have multiple elements, you will end up creating an element, deleting an element, right? And then sometimes maybe you don't want to process files. Again, the same example, which starts with some character. Okay, so you'll iterate through the loop. Whenever you see an element with that character, starting with that character or starting with that keyword, okay, you'll just delete them from the list because you don't want to process them going forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Suraj.
Yeah, no problem. Any other
Yes.
questions, guys?
Yes, Suresh.
Yep.
When we create arrays in Python, it always belongs to NumPy module, or is it in
No,
a different?
we do have array module as well. There is something called as array.arr. I mean, ARR is what you give as an alias. You can create that where you'll be specifying, field descriptor and the values. Type descriptor, my bad. Type descriptor is something which would tell you what is a file. I mean, sorry, what is the data type of what is the data type of values you are storing in an array. It's not always array, but it's not always NumPy. You do have arrays as well, but it's always one dimensional. Okay.
Okay,
So
then what is the difference? I'm confused between the arrays and NumPy arrays as well as lists. I mean, lists, coming from a different language, arrays and lists have a significant difference, like how we declare the arrays and the also the differences between array and list. But when it comes to Python, in the NumPy is something new, so I'm a bit confused between the three of them uh, in the declaration as well as the difference.
okay. So I'll give a simple comparison. First things first, in Python, arrays is only one dimensional. You don't have two-dimensional arrays. Okay. So if you want to kind of create a two-dimensional array, again, you will be relying on lists. Okay, list of lists is considered as two-dimensional, right? And talking about NumPy, NumPy is a different module altogether. NumPy stands for numerical Python. Okay. So if you remember matrices, which you have learned in your high school, NumPy arrays are exact representation of matrices. You'll have all the functions. Okay, so you can create a one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, three-dimensional array. For example, you are dealing with image processing. So image processing, an image will be converted to a three-dimensional array where each element will have XYZ points. XYZ points are, analogous to RGB components because any image, right? Any image is a combination of pixels and each pixel is an RGB component and combination of these pixels is an image. I mean, basics of image processing, right? So if you want to do some kind of operations like cropping an image or maybe rotating an image, you'll not be able to do it using normal Python array. We go with NumPy array, create a three-dimensional array using NumPy. Okay, and then we do all the cropping and other stuff. Okay, so if you guys are really interested, there is one article which I'll be suggesting. Python. There is a Medium blog. Yeah. You can just go through this blog, guys. It will be little mathematical and some knowledge on images is needed. So for example, if you take this image, right? So this is what we call as resolution. This resolution is 1750 by 1000. 1750 is your x-axis and 1000 is y-axis. Okay. So pixel representation is always two-dimensional. Okay, meaning you have 1750 pixels on your x-axis and then 1000 pixels on your y-axis. And each pixel, if you want to represent them programmatically, right, they're all you know RGB components. Okay, so in this array representation, your red component would be X component, and G component would be Y component, and the B component would be uh, sorry, RGB. Yeah, B component would be Z component. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you know transpose of a matrix. So rotating your image is nothing but transpose of this 3D matrix. Okay, so likewise cropping, you chop some elements and in an array, and this three-dimensional array, you'll get cropped image. And then you go change the RGB values, you will end up changing saturation, hue. I mean, I don't know how many of you do photo editing. At least you do some simple editing, right? You add some filters, monochromic filters or black and white, or maybe hue, other filters in Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it is. This is what happens in the backend. If not Python, some other thing, but yeah. So this is the beauty of NumPy. This is one real-time example I have taken, and you can't do this using an array. Okay.
Can you put the website name in the chat? It's kind of hard to see the screen.
One moment. Let me see. For some reason, my chat window is not working. It's loading forever. But what you can do is, one moment. Image editing using NumPy Python. Okay, so if you type this, you'll see multiple sites. You know, you have this Analytics Vidya, and then you'll see one by Medium as well. This is also the same thing. Yeah. Introduction NumPy, Matplotlib, low image ops. Yeah, it's also the same thing. When you open it, it will create, you know, a 3D array. And then you can see how you want to access X, Y, Z axis. This is about transpose. So they should be doing a transpose here. And then rotate 90 degrees. Then changing the values so that it will look in gray and RGB components. Okay, so these are RGB components where you have made all the values of RG zeros. You see all the values to zeros, and then you are highlighting only red component. So that is the reason it is showing only red, and other values you are making it to 0 and highlighting only the second dimension, which is green component, and then blue component, and then color reduction. And this is a beautiful example. I mean, very basics of image processing, understanding what happens. Okay, this is one site, and one moment. So image processing, image editing using NumPy, Python Medium, or image processing using NumPy, you'll get this Medium blog. This is the one which I use. Okay. So at the end of the day, code is same, guys. You see the same code, PIL, and then opening an image, and then rotating an image. Okay. Yeah. So any other questions? Cool. We'll continue from where we left yesterday. So this is where we stand. I have reran all the cells before starting this session. And this is the list what we have currently. Okay, lion, cat, elephant, dog, horse, pig, kangaroo, hippo, and then cat. Now I'm adding another element, fox. When I type this is what you see: animal, cat, elephant, dog, horse, pig, kangaroo, hippo, cat, and then fox. Okay. Now using a membership operator, guys, membership operators, if you remember when we were talking about operators, we discussed about a couple of membership operators, in and not in. Okay. So when I do an in operator, if this particular element is present in this list, then it will return true. If it is not present, then it will return false. Now, when I run this, it is giving false, though you have fox in the list. Any guess?
Case sensitive.
Case
Case
sensitive.
sensitive.
Yes, case sensitive. Okay. So there is a function called lower in Python, which would convert all the uppercase characters to lowercase characters, just like this. Okay. So whenever you're doing any comparison, right, this is a best practice. Either you convert everything to uppercase and then do the comparison, or you convert everything to lowercase and then do the comparison. If people who are working with SQL, they should be having an idea on this, especially when we are doing a join operation or when you want to compare a couple of values. Both LHS and RHS will try to get it to single standard, either lower or upper, and then we do the comparison. Okay. Now when I run this, it will return true. Okay, because fox.lower will convert everything into lowercase characters and then do the comparison. Okay, now let's try to do a simple example, guys. So whatever we have in the animals list, right? Let's try to categorize them into wild animals and domestic animals. Okay, so for the same reason, I'm creating a couple of empty lists. One is wild animals list and second one is domestic animals list. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, and then I'm iterating through animals list, and each element I'm converting it to lower and checking if it is present in this list: lion, bear, cheetah, tiger, elephant, and fox. If it is present in this list, I'm adding it to wild animals list, else I'm adding it to domestic animals list using append function. Okay, and then finally, I'm printing wild animals and then domestic animals. Okay. Now, before we move on to the next concepts, um, I'm gonna give you an assignment, guys, for this weekend. Okay. So how many of you watch cricket?
I do.
Okay. So what about others? How many of you know cricket rules? You don't need to know all the rules, but at least how many of you know, how should be a team composition in cricket?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So I'll explain you the example, guys.
Can you go back to previous example?
Sorry?
Can you go back to previous example? How you know wild animals versus domestic animals?
I have given this lookup, right? I'm checking in this list if it is a wild animal or a domestic animal. I'm giving that intelligence.
Oh, it know by itself.
It won't. I'm giving this, right? This is driven by me.
This is complete list or only the
No,
animals?
just
Oh,
some examples. So here my intention is to show you how in operator works.
okay.
So I have taken just 6 values. Say for example, you give leopard, it will be considered as domestic animals because that is not there in this list. It doesn't know by itself whether it is a wild animal or a domestic animal. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now going back to this, guys, this application is a cricket team selection application. Okay. So let me tell you, for people who doesn't know about cricket and how a team composition would look like. Okay. So generally, you can consider this as a 50-hour cricket. You can consider this as a 50-hour cricket. Okay. So ideally, there is no restriction in terms of batting, guys, but when it comes to bowling, one bowler can bowl a maximum of 10 hours. Maximum of 10 hours. And then we have 4 different categories. Okay. Batsman, and then bowler. Then, guys, if you are not talking, can you please go on mute? Guys, can you please go on mute? Yep, thank you. So batsman, bowler, wicketkeeper, and then all-rounder. Okay, so this is a broad category, guys, right? Now, if a batsman and a wicketkeeper will never bowl. Generally, they don't bowl. Will not have a wicketkeeper bowler. Definitely not. Okay, only a bowler or an all-rounder can bowl. Okay, meaning combination of bowlers plus wicketkeepers, bowlers plus wicketkeepers. Sorry, my bad. Bowlers plus all-rounders should be a minimum of 5. Bowlers and wicketkeeper combination should be a minimum of 5, and the entire team should be 11. Okay, so when you pick bowler and wicketkeeper, a minimum of 5. Okay, so the combination would be, uh, 6 batsmen, and now wicketkeeper would be a minimum of 1. You can pick one wicketkeeper or couple of wicketkeepers in the same team. Okay. Now, these are the rules. Basically, in total, your team should have 11 and wicketkeeper 1 minimum, and then bowlers and all-rounders 5 minimum. So generally what happens is whenever India is going to play cricket in a particular series, not just India, any cricket team, so they'll announce a squad. And this squad will have usually 15 to 16 folks. Now you can consider it's a squad of 16 folks who are divided into these categories: batsmen, bowlers, wicket keepers, and then all-rounders. Okay, batsmen, bowlers, wicket keepers, and then all-rounders. Okay, so now what you'll have to do is you'll have to create 4 lists with these names. Okay, you can pick any international cricket team, or you can pick your own team with your friends' names. Okay, which should have a list of batsmen, and then list of bowlers, list of wicket keepers, and list of all-rounders. Okay, and the sum of all the values in these 4 lists should not exceed 16. It can be less than 16, but it shouldn't exceed 16. Okay, now the use case. Now what your code should do is it should pick a team with the composition you have given. Okay, so your team should ask you how many batsmen you want, how many bowlers you want, how many wicket keepers you want, how many all-rounders you want. So generally, I'm a fan of 4 bowlers and then 2 all-rounders, 1 wicket keeper should do. Okay, and then 4 plus 2, 6, 7, and then 4 batsmen. Okay, so this is my favorite combination. So you have 4 bowlers and then 2 all-rounders and 1 wicket keeper. Wicket keeper is also a batsman. And then 4 batsmen, regular batsmen. If you see, India have played with the same combination in the World Cup T20. Okay, so you can give whatever you want. At the end of the day, the sum should be 11. Okay. Now this should be your input. Now what your Python code should do is it will have to go through this list. It will have to go through this list, the squad lists, and then create a team of 11. Okay, it should create a team of 11 and then it should print it and ask you if you are good. It should ask you if you are good with the team that is selected by the Python code. Okay, if answer is yes, the code ends there. If answer is no, then it should be asking for whom do you want to replace. Okay, so it should ask whom do you want to replace. Okay, so for example, you have selected a particular batsman to replace. Okay, it should print the remaining 5-member names from all these values. It should print the remaining 5-member value from all these lists. Okay, so let's say from batsman 4 are selected, and then you'll have maybe 2 batsmen left, and then maybe 1 bowler left, 1 wicket keeper left, and maybe 2 all-rounders left. So you have picked a team of 11. There will be 5 players still left, and you should be printing all the 5 names. Okay, so you can enter whatever the name you want to add to the team, and that guy should be replaced with the selected team earlier, selected player, whoever you have selected to replace. Okay, and once that is done, your code should ask, do you want to replace more players? Answer is yes, your code ends there. Answer is no, then again you should be asking for a player name and then give the list of available players to be replaced. Okay, so this process should continue till user records a response Y. Okay, let me take a pause. Are we good with the requirement? Yes, no, maybe.
I'm confused with how do we choose these 4, 2, 1? So is it, I mean, is it like user's choice or is it like we're hard coding? Like
You shouldn't hard code. You shouldn't
I
hard
mean, I
code.
know
You
like
will.
it shouldn't hard code. So are we checking with user how many bowlers you want to choose, something like
That one is from user. They are user inputs. How many batsmen you want, how many bowler you want, how many wicket keeper you want. So these 4 will be coming from user. Okay.
Okay.
Once you got these 4 inputs from the user, Python code should pick these numbers. So you have a random module. Okay. Again, I don't want to tell you how to do it. I want you to Google, every one of you. Okay. You can just simply Google how to pick random elements from a list. There is a random module, and then you have choice function. Okay, which would go pick the number of values you specify from a list. Okay, and then except for this one, all the other concepts you will have to, combine whatever we have discussed. Like, how to add an element, how to remove an element, how to, append a couple of lists or multiple lists, which we'll be discussing shortly. In operator, you don't know not in operator. Okay, so I want you to put all these concepts together to create this use case. Okay, so only thing you don't know is random module. That is something which I want you to put some effort into. Okay, so utilize your long weekend, guys. Right, and then try to solve this out. Are we good? Sorry?
Said a choice operator would be choice operator is already covered.
It's not covered. Like I said, right? You'll have to Google it.
Yeah.
Okay, so in random, I think I have covered only randint function, but random is a very good module for implementing gaming. I mean, like this, gamification of your code, or implement any games where you have to get some integer value in random or anything in random. Are we good? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
This will be very interesting, guys. Trust me, you will feel very confident after completing this code. Okay, I'm gonna give you another assignment as well, that will be after completing dictionaries. Okay, where you will be implementing another application, which is a reminder application. Okay, and if you are still interested and want to work on a large scale project which covers all the concepts, you can directly write a Python, you can directly write Python code to implement it to play a cricket game itself, which will be a kind of 1 month project. But all the concepts, whatever you have learned so far should do. You don't need to learn anything extra. Okay, but again, that's a different scenario. We'll stick to this cricket team selection for now for lists. And then once dictionaries are done, I'll tell you the requirement. Okay, not dictionaries. It need file concepts as well, file IO. Okay, so we'll talk about how a real-time reminder application works. Okay. Now, going back to our code. The next concept is sorting the list. When I say sorting the list, sorting all the values inside the list. Okay, I'm just printing animals which have the values lion, cat, elephant, dog, horse, pig, kangaroo, hippo, cat, and then fox. I'm adding one more value, which is rabbit. And then I'm printing the same. Okay, for sorting a list, you have two different functions, guys. For sorting a list, you have two different functions. One is sort and one is sorted. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between both. So sorted function would take the list as an input and it will return a sorted animals list, which is a new list. Okay, here I have created sorted animals variable to store the same, but you can create whatever you want, whatever the variable you want. So this is a sort operation. Now when you do print sorted animals, you'll see the animals list sorted. Okay, so ideally it should start with A, right, followed by B and C. Then how come F came first? Fox. Any guess?
There is no animal with the letter A.
Maybe it was last added.
No.
Uppercase.
Yes.
Uppercase.
Yes.
Uppercase.
Uppercase takes the precedence, guys, over lowercase. Okay, so that's the reason Fox came first, and then C, then D, then E, then H, so on and so forth. It's an ascending order. Now you might ask me, boss, can we do it in descending order as well? Answer is yes. I'll be showing you shortly. Okay. Now moving on, there is another function called sort. There is another function called sort. Okay. So what sort will do is it will do in-place sorting. What do I mean by in-place sorting? So in-place sorting would sort your actual list and doesn't return anything. Okay. So for example, here if you see when I printed sorted animals, you got all the sorted animals list. And when I print animals, it's still same. It's still same. Okay, so it sorted the values and it returned a new list. But when it comes to sort, it will actually sort the same list. It will not return anything. Okay, if I'm trying to assign a variable to store whatever is returned by animals.sort function, it will return none because this sort function doesn't return anything. Now let me do this in place sorting. Now when I do animals, animals will be changed. You see? Okay, and when you try to print sorted animals, it will print none. Okay, so sort function doesn't return anything and it will sort your actual list, the original list. Okay, whereas sorted function will return a new sorted list where the original list will be intact. That's the only difference. If you want to sort your existing list, you will be using sort function. If you don't want to disturb your original list and create a new sorted list, that is when you will be going for sorted function. Okay, and to sort the elements in descending order, you'll have to pass an additional argument. Reverse is equals to true. By default, it will be false. Okay, so when you pass reverse is equals to true, it will sort the elements in descending order. Okay, where it starts with R followed by P, L, K, so on and so forth till the fox. The same is applicable for sorted as well. So earlier you have passed only one parameter, which is animals. Here you see. Okay, you'll have to pass one more additional parameter, which is reverse is equals to true. By default, it would be false. And sorts in ascending order. When you do reverse is equals to true, it will sort in descending order. Let me take a pause. Are we good? with sorting your list?
Can you explain once again sort and sorted? What is the difference? I didn't get you.
What this will do, Vijaya?
Mhm. It will give the descending order.
Ascending order by default. Okay. Now you got the sorted list, right? Now when I print L, it's not sorted. Okay. So this sorted function wouldn't impact your original list. Instead, it will sort and give you a new list, return a new list. Okay. So which you'll have to store it in a list variable. Now, when I print the sorted list, you will see the sorted values 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Okay. Now moving on, if I do L dot sort, it doesn't return anything. Okay, it will just go sort the existing list itself. It is sorted now. Whereas in sorted, it didn't. Okay. Now, if I try to store the value, the returned value in some variable v is equals to dot sort, this v will have nothing because sort is returning nothing. When you try to print v, it's a none. There is nothing. None. So this is the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So guys, I mean, one heads up. This is the reason I keep asking you to practice. Okay. So every topic is dependent on whatever we discuss in the earlier sessions. Okay. So for example, if we have followed the functions topic, okay, we have covered all these things. You know, what happens when a function returns something, what happens when a function doesn't return something, what happens, you know, when we create an empty function, all these things, right? So every topic is interrelated. Again, I'm not against asking questions or clarifying it once again. I'm totally okay. But the problem will be, you know, you'll feel satisfied for now, and again you'll forget. Mark my words. After 3, 4 sessions, if I'm talking about a similar analogy, you'll ask me again. Okay, so as long as I'm here, that's okay. I'll answer your questions, but you know, you should understand how you can, you know, understand these things by yourself and the other things. So that's the reason right from the day one, I'm emphasizing on, you know, Google something and then you try to get some answers by yourself and still not clarified, you know, you can come back to me. I'm always there, not just for these 4 days or 5 days that is left over, right? We'll be continuing our journey next couple of months as well, at least the people who are joining for data engineering course. Okay. And again, people who are not joining for data engineering course, it doesn't mean that, you know, our journey ends here. You can get in touch with Career IT folks at any given point of time and then ask me questions. Okay. So what I'm trying to teach you is solving problems by yourself by knowing all the fundamentals. Okay. But like I said, I'm not against asking questions, right? So sometimes what happens is, whatever that has been taught and that's been repeatedly asked, I feel little maybe demotivated. I can definitely tell you. because when you're not putting in that effort and you're not getting something out of these sessions, I didn't feel comfortable. Okay. So again, I'm not against anything, guys. I understand you are busy with your work, you're busy with your daily course, but when we are investing some time into learning something, I want you to put in that additional 1-2 hours of effort every day so that you can make maximum out of it. Okay. Hope that makes sense to everyone. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah. Okay. And one last thing is basically, I believe in time more than money. People say that time is money, but I believe time is way greater than money. You lose money, you earn it back, but you lose time, you'll never earn it back. And from your daily routine, you are spending 1 hour in attending these sessions. So I respect my time and I respect your time. Okay, so even if we are talking something out of Python, it should help you in one or the other way. Okay, so respect your time too, guys. I mean, when you have invested close to 12-13 hours by now attending all these sessions. So what I feel is you should definitely get something out of it. Okay. Now moving on, concatenation of lists, right? So we have seen a lot of things till now, using append, using extend. Now I'm gonna introduce one more concept, the plus operator or a concatenation operator. Okay, we'll try to understand what this plus operator will do, and then we'll try to do a comparison of all these functions, whatever we have learned. Okay, so here I'm creating a couple of lists, numbers, and then this is a list 1, 2, 3 letters. I'm creating another list which is ABC, and then there is this concatenation operator. Okay, this plus is concatenation operator. Okay, when you do numbers plus letters, you will get a new list with all these values 1, 2, 3, and then ABC. Okay, now you might ask me, boss, what is the difference between extend and concatenation operator? I'm going to discuss shortly. Okay, so now if you see, letters list is still the same, numbers list is still the same. Then where is this 1, 2, 3 ABC is stored? It should be stored in a variable which you create, which I haven't done here. Okay, I'm doing it here now. New list is equals to numbers plus letters. In numbers, you have 1, 2, 3, and in letters ABC. Now, if numbers plus letters will return 1, 2, 3 ABC. Okay, I'm storing the same in this new list variable. When I print new list, you'll see the new list with all the values. Okay, so this concatenation operator is not impacting the existing lists or the original lists, which are numbers and then letters, but it is creating a new list. Okay, so numbers will be same, 1, 2, 3. Letters will be same, ABC, and then you have this pop function which would return 3. The last values numbers, you'll see only 1, 2 now. Letters, you'll see ABC, and then now comes extend. Okay, so numbers dot extend of letters. When you do this and print numbers, your numbers list is impacted. So what happened is this letters list is merged with numbers list. Okay, so numbers list got changed. It got changed to 1, 2 ABC, and this extend function doesn't return anything. If you try to create a variable and assign the output returned by extend, it will be none. Okay. Now when I do letters, letters will be intact because you merged letters with numbers. It's not the other way around. Okay. Now if you want to do letters plus numbers again, now it's a huge list you'll get. ABC, 1, 2, and then ABC. Because in numbers you have 1, 2 ABC, letters you have ABC. Okay. Now if you see numbers, it will still be same. Letters you'll still see you'll see still same. Okay. Now here is the comparison. What happens with plus, what happens with extend, what happens with append. you have numbers, your original list 1, 2, 3. Letters, you have your original list ABC. And the new list I'm creating using concatenation operator plus. And then I'm printing numbers, letters, new list, and then type of new list. When I run this, your numbers list is as is, letters list is as is, new list is the combination of both the lists, and then the type is list. Okay. Now in the second example, numbers is 1, 2, 3, letters is ABC, and then new list is equals to numbers dot extend of letters. Now when I run this, okay, so your numbers list will be extension of numbers plus letters 1, 2, 3 ABC, and your letters list would be A, B, C, only 3 values, and the new list is none, and it's of none type. The reason being extend don't return anything. It will just add the values of letters list into this numbers list. Now I have 1, 2, 3 numbers list, ABC letters list, and then numbers dot append of letters. Okay. Now when I run this, your numbers list would be 1, 2, 3, and then ABC is added as a one element in numbers list, which is a list. Okay, and letters list is still same, and even append didn't return anything. New list is none, and then type of new list is type. Okay, so the same lists I have used three different methods. One is using concatenation operator, one is extend, and the last one is append. And this is what has happened to your original lists and the new list. Let me take a pause. Are we good?
I just had one doubt, Suresh.
Yeah,
So
please.
in the new list, when you do numbers dot extend or numbers dot append, it's showing none.
Yes.
So that means what's happening over there?
You tell me.
Okay, it's
Yes.
okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
It,
Okay, Suresh. I got it, Suresh. Thank you.
okay. So basically what's happening here is extend and append are returning nothing. So what is a function, guys? Function should return something or return nothing, correct? When it is returning something, that is where you need a variable to store that returned value. When it is returning nothing, you don't need a variable to store the value, but still if you try to do it, it will be none.
Yeah, it will be none. Yeah, got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
got it.
Okay.
And one other question.
Yeah,
So
please.
that plus concatenation operator is only used for this list, or we can use it for other concatenations like
You
some
can do
string
for
variables?
string. You can use
Okay.
it for string. You can use it with integers. When you do it with integers, it will do an addition operation.
Yeah, addition operation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. String also we can do it.
You can do.
Okay, got it.
Now, if I'm inserting another value 5 at position 2, and this is how numbers list look like. And then we have this remove function. Okay, we spoke about the pop yesterday. I'll be introducing couple more functions today, remove and delete. Okay, now what this remove function will do is it will remove 5 from the list and it won't return anything. Okay, when you do numbers, you'll see 1, 2, 3 ABC. Okay, so it doesn't return anything unlike pop. Pop returns the removed element, right? It doesn't return. Okay, just to confirm the same, I'm trying to store the output in a variable. And then if I print removed number, it's showing none. Okay, and now if you see numbers, this is how it would look like. Okay, when it comes to pop, I'm trying to remove an element 1 from the numbers list using pop function. It will return this 1, which I'm storing in this popped number variable. When I do popped number, it's 2. Sorry, pop will remove by index, right? My bad. So it will remove 2 and it stored 5, sorry, 2. Okay. Now let me take a pause. Are we good?
So remove function uses the value to
Yes.
remove the element.
Yes.
So do we have anything to like based on index?
Using
pop,
remove?
you have
Only
pop,
pop.
and
Okay.
then you have delete, another function delete. I'm going to talk about that shortly.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And then numbers 1, 2, 3, and then pop of 1. Then I do numbers. Now I'll see only 1 because this ABC have been removed. Now removed element is ABC. Okay. And finally, this del function is delete. Delete space numbers of index. Okay. This also removes element based on index. Okay. So we only have one element and I'm deleting that as well. Now when I show you numbers, it will be empty. And this delete also doesn't return anything. Okay. And then append of 10. I'm just adding one element and then 10. You do pop, it will just remove the existing element because pop without any parameter would remove the last value. And then you print numbers. It's an empty list. And then you can use negative indexes as well. You know, I'm creating a list with 10, 20, 30, 40. Delete numbers of -1 would just go remove the last element. And the numbers would be 10, 20, 30. Okay. So let me take a pause. Are we good?
You don't give the last index, delete the last one, same like pop.
You're saying delete?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is exactly like pop without an argument.
The only difference, it won't
Return. It won't return the removed element. Okay. Are we good, everyone? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, Suresh, we are.
Perfect. Now moving on, few other functions, guys. Numbers is equals to, I'm creating one list, 30, 20, 45, and then 10. Okay, and then there is this reverse function which would reverse the order. It is not sorting or it is not sorting in ascending order or descending order. It is just reversing the order. Okay, it also won't return anything. It will change the actual list, original list. When I print numbers, the order has been changed. So here in the original list, 10 is the last value. Here it became the first value, 10, 45, 20, and then 30. Okay, so it's basically reversing the order in which the elements are stored. And then we can do all the aggregate functions too. Sum of numbers will give you sum of all the values which you can store in a variable. Max of numbers will give you the maximum value in your list. Likewise, min will give you minimum value in your list, right? You can do any aggregate operations like average, whatever it is. Okay. Now, next comes list comprehension. Okay. So what is a list comprehension? Before I talk about a list comprehension, let me explain a simple example. Okay. In what scenarios you can use list comprehensions? Okay. For example, I have a list numbers, which is having 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to create another list. Now I want to create another list by doing same operation on all the values of your original list. So here I want to create another list multiple to, okay, by doing the same operation, which is multiplying all these values with 2. Okay. Now how I'm going to do that is I'm creating multiple underscore 2, an empty list. And then for I in numbers, I'm iterating through this list. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm multiplying the number with 2 and appending it to multiple underscore 2 list. Okay. And when I print this by the end of the loop, you'll get 2, 4, 6, and 8. Let me take a pause. Are we good?
Suresh, before going to that, I just tested that delete is not giving syntax error with empty string.
Sorry?
You didn't give the index in delete function. Is
Yeah.
giving syntax error.
It will give because it will accept an index. Sorry, it will expect an index.
You said it was like pop, right?
When you do -1, when you give -1,
Yeah, it's equivalent to pop. Pop, you don't need to pass the index. Here,
Yeah,
it
here
needs
you'll
to.
have to give -1. I said when you pass -1, it is equivalent to pop. Maybe I misheard your question, but when it is -1, only then it will give, it is equivalent to pop. Without -1, it won't work.
We should definitely place index in the delete.
Yes, that's mandatory. Are we good? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, we are good, Suresh.
Okay. And what about this example? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if you understand this example, you know, understanding list comprehension is not a big deal. Now, what list comprehension will do is, you know, it will combine all this logic into one single line like this. I'm creating a numbers list 1, 2, 3, 4, and the multiple 2 is a list. Okay, and how this list would be created is this logic. Okay, so I'm iterating through the numbers in the numbers list, and for every number, I'm doing 1 into 2. Sorry, into 2. Okay, so list comprehension is writing the logic inside your list. This is an empty list if you want to create, and how you want to populate elements of this list is by this logic. Okay, iterate through numbers list, and then for every number you do into 2. Okay, so this is what we call as list comprehension. You don't need to write multiple lines of code. You can combine all of them into a single line of code. Okay, are we good? And you can use this only when you want to do the same operation on all the values, guys. You cannot, you cannot use this if you want to create multiple underscore list, multiple underscore 2 list by doing different operations on different elements. Are we good?
Yes.
So this comprehension is only for append or any other list methods as well.
It's not about append and other things. It's about creating a new list by doing a same operation in some list from some list. You have a parent list and you want to create a child list by applying some operation on all the values, then you use list comprehension. Make sense?
Okay.
Perfect. Now, there is this into operator, guys. When you do 3 into 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, when I'm teaching this, somebody is asking me, boss, can't this serve the purpose? It won't. It will just multiply the number of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we'll stop here, guys. I think we are still left with a couple of concepts. Okay. We'll talk about them tomorrow. Are we good?
Yeah.
Before that, why do we need append there? If you don't keep append there, doesn't it work?
Okay. So what do you want me to do here without append? So I'm removing append. Any other function you want to tell?
Yeah, just like multiplier is, if you keep numbers into 2, it will work, right?
How do you want to do it? I mean, just type and see what will happen.
Multiplier 2 equals to number into 2.
Is equals to I into 2. Okay. Is this what you want to do?
No, he wants numbers
I
into
in-
2.
Yeah, I in numbers already, right? So it will take numbers in I. That's okay, right?
So you want to do I into 2.
Yeah.
So this is what you get. Your list itself is replaced. This is what you do for a variable, not for a list. Make sense?
At 8.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened here. So multiple underscore 2 is equals to a list. Right now it's a list variable. Now what you are doing is multiple underscore 2 is equals to 2 into 4. It's not just 2 into 4. You started with 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. 4 will be your last one. Okay. Now if I print multiple underscore 2, it's 8. You're changing the variable from list to integer. Doing this.
If we remove the second line, multiplier 2,
This
stating
one?
that it is a list, does it work in that case?
Sorry, removing this, and what you want to do?
Not here. On your second line of our code, like multiplier is equal to list, you are mentioning that one, right?
Uh-huh.
Remove that one.
Okay.
Run that one. It's same 8.
It's 8. It will be 8, right? What else are you expecting?
It has to take 1 into 2.
It won't. Why it would take? Simple, right? See, basically it's a list and you are adding all the values to the list. If not append, you can use other functions. Maybe you create another list and then do the concatenation. That would still work. But what you're trying to tell is create a list and then change the value inside that list to a variable. It will never happen. Not just in Python, in any programming language, Vinod. Because list is a different data type and integer is a different data type.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sense? Okay. And this is how you learn, guys. I mean, there is nothing wrong in these questions, but this is what I'm exactly telling you. Take this piece of code and then do it yourself. See what happens. Right? And then try to get your findings. We'll discuss about those findings. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow and I would take around 10 to 15 minutes to complete the remaining topics in list and then we'll start dictionaries. Another interesting topic. I would say one of my favorite topics in Python. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, Suresh.
Thank you.